If you don't agree with us, then we don't want you to take our survey. Are you a hateful person? Do you have hate in your heart? I'm a Canadian. My name's Greg. Hi, everyone. And we are going to go over an online combating hate survey. So that video you're watching now is from May 2022. I'm just posting it now because this article just came out last week. Shout outs to Jamie Sarkonak from the National Post. It's a great article. Trudeau Liberals are filtering out dissent to their anti-hate agenda. Internal emails show a question was added to a survey to weed out those critical of the government's plans after too much negative feedback. While the department publicly encouraged every person in Canada to participate in a survey about what this plan should include, email records show that people were screened out if they believed that an anti-hate plan wasn't needed at all. That is correct, and I have video evidence here. I also do an in-depth look at what the Canadian government is planning in terms of hate legislation and why, of course, it's completely absurd and ridiculous. Let's get started. This all started on Facebook, believe it or not. When I came across this ad, ever been targeted by hate because of who you are? Yes, actually. I've been targeted by hate just for simply standing with the People's Party of Canada, for example. Certainly been targeted for harassment for that. But let's continue. Fill out the online questionnaire to inform the first national action plan on combating hate. I've made a video in the past of how the Trudeau administration is going to try and justify, or I guess it's the Trudeau Jig Meat coalition. They are going to try to justify an authoritarian style censorship on the Canadian internet. They tokenize minorities and exploit any time that they've been, experienced hate, and they glorify that, and they say that this happens all the time in Canada, therefore we need to police speech on the internet. That's going to be their argument. They're going to throw anything they can at the wall to try and justify online censorship and speech censorship. For those who don't know, they want to change the definition of hate speech to mean to detest and vilify someone, which is very convenient because I genuinely detest and vilify Justin Trudeau and a lot of the Liberal cabinet. So there you go. I guess if they pass this new form of hate speech, I would be able to subject to fines or possibly prison time in the new Liberal NDP majority Canada. This bill is coming down the pipe. Anyway, I wanted to focus on this survey here because it's going to be used to try and justify this ridiculous legislation. So let's just jump into it. Be part of the National Action Plan on Combating Hate. The Government of Canada is taking necessary actions to address the troubling rise of hate crimes and hate groups, not just because of the devastating consequences they have on the victims and their families, but also because they can divide communities and increase insecurity nationwide. This is really rich coming from the Government of Canada, which has essentially, the military has been using propaganda against its own citizens. Bruh. Like that's a fact. We know that. We know that the legacy media in Canada is guilty of spreading misinformation. And just recently, there was a study by Dr. Fissman, who is part of the Ontario Science Table, which is quite literally promoting the segregation of society. It's promoting the kind of casual, mixing, like don't mix the unjabbed with the jabbed. That's casual kind of, that's not even casual. That's like very overt attempts to divide society or to get people thinking about dividing society. So it's very rich that this is coming from the Canadian government when they, of course, not only are they guilty of it, but in terms of like reach and impact, they're probably the most guilty of it.
Because the risk posed to all of us by unvaccinated people get angry. There will be consequences.
But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
And there's also a link in the description below to a anti-hate thread about this anti-hate website. But essentially, they are a hate group. They're like Justin Trudeau's hate group. They essentially hate any sort of right-wing group that is like a dissident, that are people like myself who disagree with the Liberal NDP coalition and attack their ideology and that sort of thing. This anti-hate group goes after critics of Trudeau. And they also sympathize with Antifa, who is a violent terrorist organization. So yeah, once again, the Trudeau government is very guilty of a lot of the things that they're claiming to try and stop with this National Action Plan on combating hate. That's why the government is launching consultations for the first ever national action plan on combating hate. We want to ensure that people across Canada, particularly those with lived experience of hate, have their say in defining how this action plan will deliver tangible change. The real disturbing thing about all this is, it's no secret the government overreach in Canada is absolutely disgusting. Especially recently over the past 2 years, and especially since the trucker convoy. We've seen the mask has fallen off. We've seen their true character. These people are authoritarian. They don't just have authoritarian endeavors, but they are authoritarian. They want to crush dissent. They want to crush anybody who doesn't comply. Or, as people have kind of overtly said, they want to make their lives as inconvenient as possible. So the government overreach of Canada is obviously evident, but This is like the next level of that, because hate, I'm sorry folks, hate is an emotion. Hate is a human emotion. Growing up, if you had siblings, I hate my sister. I hate my brother. Sometimes I hate my mom or my dad. This is a very fundamental core human emotion that people feel regularly. It's part of the human experience. It's part of the human experience. And Canada, the government of Canada is saying, we want to ensure that people across Canada, particularly those with lived experience of hate, who doesn't have some lived experience of hate? And don't get me wrong, I know people have been viciously bullied and viciously, aggressively attacked for who they are. I mean, just talk to any woman who grew up in a Muslim majority country. If you want to talk about, I was just reading Infidel by Ayaan Hirsi Ali. So ask her about hate. Ask her where it's coming from. Anyway, my point is the Canadian government is overreaching so far now that they are saying, we are going to control the human emotions of our citizens, and we're going to make sure no hate ever happens again. It's very, very creepy, very uncalled for, and we're past the pale in this country. But I just wanted to kind of clarify that they're trying to control human emotion at this point. And somebody might say, well, Greg, what, you want people to murder? Is murder a human emotion? No, murder is a violent action. Murder is not an emotion. Hate is emotion. Okay, hate is an emotion that we've all felt in some form or another. But what's scary about this questionnaire is that they're trying to justify censoring speech and killing free speech, literally killing free speech in Canada. Now, before I click on enter questionnaire now, I'm going to make a prediction. I think it's going to be a lot of guiding questions that a lot of good intended people will answer, and then it'll kind of construct a case for them. It'll ask questions like, do you think we should prevent this? Do you think we should stop Asian hate, or do you think or not? These very simple ultimatums where really the people who have designed this survey are just hoping to get a very specific answer so they can get the stats, look at the stats, and then there's all these articles about it saying, hey, look at the hatred. People want to stop hatred. Canadians want this. Canadians want an end to freedom of speech. When you can see what they're doing, it's very obvious. Anyway, that's my prediction. Let's see if I'm right. Enter the questionnaire now. Are you 16 years of age? Yes. Do you think that Here we go. Do you think that combating hate should be a priority for the government of Canada? No, absolutely not. Maybe work on the roads in our country. Maybe work on the budget and inflation. I don't think stopping a human emotion, like I said before, should be at all what the government is focused on. So absolutely not. Are you responding on behalf of an organization? No, as a private citizen. Which of the following describes you? Select all that apply. There's two types of black. Well, there's three types of black, and then a black, please specify. And then there's three types of Asian with an Asian, please specify. There's a Latinx. Latinx made it. Multiracial, please specify. I identify as. Oh my God. I'm surprised that there's only one version of Middle Eastern. But yeah, white, just white. That's it. Just white. Not even European. Kind of interesting. Europe doesn't come up here. Oh my God. Please explain why you think that combating hate should not be a priority for the government of Canada. How long is this going to be? Jeez. What did I say, guys? I said hate is a human emotion. The government should not be imposing legislation in an attempt to control the emotions of their citizens. I hate evil people, for example. I hate lawyers, for example. Liars, for example. Whoops. Sometimes I hate my own family members, for example. The policing of hate is a futile pursuit, and I fear a government that has already proven to violate Canadian charter rights will only use the results of this survey to impose laws that further violate our freedom of speech. I hope this isn't the case, but I would hate if that were to happen. Yeah. Wait, what? No way. Oh my God. Don't you see what's happened here, folks? See, what I'm seeing here, the fact that I just filled out those few questions, I don't think that the Canadian government should be policing hate. And then they're like, thank you. Thank you. Good. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. The study is essentially saying, if you don't think the Canadian government should be policing hate and combating hate, then we don't want to hear if you've ever experienced hate or not. We don't want to hear about it. If you don't agree with us, then we don't want you to take our survey. That's exactly what's just happened here. I'm going to do something a little sneaky here, guys. And we are going to be a black trans woman. Okay, just for fun, just because now I really just want to know about this. I identify as a woman. I am from Quebec. No, I'm not First Nations. I'm going to be Black Caribbean, not religious. Yes, I identify as that. I was going to leave this part out, but I thought I should include it just to exemplify how easy it is to lie on these surveys. I just completed a survey from my IP address. I didn't change my IP address. Filled out another survey, completely changed all the information to whatever I wanted. Is every single survey from the government of Canada like this, from the Canadian Heritage? Seems pretty easy to just make stuff up. I could send this link to hundreds of my friends to fill it out with the way that I wanted. Could I not? Potentially? I'm 16 years of age. Do you think that combating hate should be a priority? I'm going to say yes this time. Let's see what happens when I say yes. I don't have a disability. Next page. Well, would you look at that? Well, would you look at that? So you can only fill out the survey if you agree that we must combat hate. Wow. Okay, so I guess we'll keep going here. Theme 1. So this video is getting a little long. I thought I'd give the deep dive in a separate video where I actually show you, I go through every single part of the survey. I was going to put it behind a paywall, but I think it's important that the public can see this just as like for public record and just in case no one has this like recorded. So you can go on and check that out here. And if you enjoyed this video, click like. If you're new here, hit subscribe. And if you want to show someone what's actually happening in Canada, then hit that share button. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.